Rise, Meg.
The Force will be with you.
Hello my dear friends and welcome back to another video. In today's update we're going to be talking about Gina Carano, Pedro Pascal and more. So let's dive straight into it. As you guys know, the main piece of Star Wars news on the lips of every fan over the last few days has been the firing of Gina Carano. While I've merely touched on the subject, there is another update that has emerged. So not only is Gina all but gone from Lucasfilm, but Lucasfilm are now looking to erase the character of Cara Dune, even going so far as to pretend that she never even existed, because new reports suggest that Lucasfilm are scrapping the current plans to release the Mandalorian Season 2 visual guide in order to make amendments so that they can release a newer version at a later date. Now, if you use your old noggin, it doesn't take a genius to work out what these amendments are. They're clearly going to get rid of the character of Cara Dune. Now, personally, I think this is going too far because regardless of personal political beliefs, Cara Dune was a character completely separate from Gina Carano and her political opinions. It bothers me in a way because not only did I like the character of Cara Dune, but also imagine having seen season 2 of Mando, and this is relevant especially for children because they aim these books for kids. So imagine you've seen season 2 of Mando and you want to learn more about Cara Dune's backstory. So let's just say that your mum or dad bought this visual guide for you on Amazon and it arrives and you open it up and you're like, I want to learn about Cara Dune, and oh, she's gone. She never existed, all traces of her have been erased. That's a bit confusing just from a character standpoint. Again, putting all political things aside, putting Gina Carano's firing aside, it would make no sense to not include her. If they had said, going forward, we're not going to be interested in the story of Cara Dune, fine, whatever. But to turn around and pretend she didn't exist in an entire season where we saw her, it kind of doesn't make any creative sense. I'll give you another example. So growing up, I had the Star Wars Phantom Menace visual guide. Now just imagine back in 1999 some shit went down with an actor or an actress. Let's say it was Darth Maul. So let's say I open up this visual guide and I'm looking for Darth Maul and oh, he never existed. He's not even in the guide. This would just be really confusing. Now, I'm not equating Darth Maul to Cara Dune, and I know Cara Dune was not as big of a character as Darth Maul was, but having said that, she was a pretty significant character in terms of being Mando's ally. So I don't really agree with this decision to scrap her from the visual guide. But anywhom, there is an article, so I'm going to read it to you now. It can't be denied that the unprecedented success of The Mandalorian gave Lucasfilm an opening to expand the Star Wars universe after Return of the Jedi. Season 2 saw the official live-action debuts of characters like Bo-Katan and Ahsoka Tano, as well as the triumphant return of Boba Fett. The tremendous fan reception to their respective cameos pretty much paved the way for the said characters to stick around for more spin-off projects. According to a new report from Star Wars Net, the upcoming reference book, Star Wars The Mandalorian Ultimate Visual Guide, has been cancelled due to quote-unquote Disney Plus's spin-off plans. Now, as you guys know, one of these spin-offs is Rangers of the New Republic, which was meant to focus on Gina Carano's Cara Dune. With her out of the picture, this article might be stating that the spin-off that's going to be cancelled, or rather quote-unquote edited, is Rangers of the New Republic. An insider at Lucasfilm also stated that the dismissal of Gina Carano based on her tweets and other social media activity means that Lucasfilm will try to erase the character altogether, which is basically a soft way of saying we just want to get rid of any trace that she was in the show. I think the second explanation makes a lot more sense. It seems like the whole spin-off thing is just an excuse or a very subtle way of saying that Rangers of the New Republic will no longer feature Gina Carano. There might be other reasons as well, but it seems like the dismissal of Gina is the primary one. Now, there is more evidence to back this up because Gina Carano was reportedly attached to multiple Star Wars projects before she was fired. So we know that she was going to be in Rangers, we knew she was going to be in The Mandalorian Season 3. But there were other reports stating that she would be getting a spin-off show all unto herself. This article says Gina Carano didn't waste any time in securing herself work after being fired from The Mandalorian, almost immediately signing on to the Daily Wire to develop a film with Ben Shapiro. The website has been planning to shift towards creating and releasing original content for a while, although it's not obviously designed to appeal to both sides of the political divide. The reality is, apart from The Mandalorian, the franchise wanted to expand her character rapidly, and Carano could have realistically been gainfully employed by Lucasfilm for many years. In fact, we've now heard from our sources, the same ones who told us Ahsoka would appear in Season 2, that the 38-year-old was being lined up for multiple Star Wars projects before being dumped altogether. While the specifics remain unclear, with The Mandalorian and its 3 spin-offs existing in the same narrative space, there was a real possibility she would have been involved in Ahsoka as well as Rangers, amongst other shows. And since Gina Carano was only recently fired, it seems like they're going to try and backtrack a lot of the character development that they had planned. So now, my friends, we're just going to change the subject slightly. Pedro Pascal actually is not leaving The Mandalorian. There have been a lot of claims that he will, but it seems as though even though he's taken first position in HBO's The Last of Us, he will still work on The Mandalorian. Besides, even if he has less time for Mando, he was only in the suit and helmet about 85% of the time, and as long as he can lend his voice and show a little bit of his face, I think we're going to be okay for season 3. Inside the Magic States, this past week has been very dramatic for the Mandalorian franchise. Soon after Pedro Pascal's HBO series was announced, fans online began worrying that the Star Wars actor would no longer be involved in season 3 of The Mandalorian. Deadline have now confirmed that Pascal has no plans to leave Lucasfilm and will be involved with the 3rd season of Mando. So there is hope and there is relief there. And finally, I just want to touch upon something very lightly because I know a lot of the fandom doesn't like this kind of news, but Rian Johnson's trilogy is seemingly back on. In fact, it never even went away, it's just that Rian Johnson's schedule has been very busy lately, and so he won't have time to work on Star Wars for quite some time. However, Lucasfilm have promised him that his trilogy is still in the works. So it was actually on the Twitter account of a lass whose name is Soraya Wilson, and she said, "I'm just going to post this now because I can see that I'm going to get a lot of requests." Yes, Rian's Star Wars trilogy is still on. No dates or timelines because he has other projects going on, but it is happening. That's all I know about it. So you don't need me to tell you that The Last Jedi was absolutely divisive. People who like it really love it, and people who hate it really despise it with a vengeance. Some going as far as saying that that was the death of Star Wars, but you know, just like Palpatine said in episode 9, "I've died before. The Star Wars franchise has been cancelled a million times. We'll all be back when things are better." But regardless of The Last Jedi, do you guys think that Rian Johnson can pull off a trilogy that's different to what we got in episode 8? Or do you think he'll make a very similar kind of movie? You know, maybe I'm too positive and optimistic for this franchise, but I'm willing to give it a shot. So my dear amigos and amigas, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and if you see that notification bell, please be sure to give it a good old tickle. I'll see you next time. I'm Star Wars Meg, wishing you all a phenomenal rest of the day, no matter where you dwell in the galaxy. I also want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of my patrons because they truly make the channel what it is. So I thank all of you, I love you all so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great one. Adios.